on the cameras that'll go red and you'll know you are ready. Ah, there you go. We're live for another episode of The Quit List. We appreciate you guys joining us today. Before we get going on this dynamic panel, we'd like for you to go ahead and share. So anyone who wants to share should go to NDTV, like the page, and then just hit the share button. You can do that right now. I'm Dr. Stan, the Quit Doctor. We're live again for another episode of The Quit List. Today, I'm joined on the show by my guest, my esteemed colleague there, Dr. Gerard McClinton. Dr. McClinton is a professor at Chicago State University. Dr. McClinton, welcome to the program.
It's great to be here.
We're also joined today by Shania Gray. Shania is an assistant professor and counselor at a local community college. She's also a board member with the Southwest Chicago Diversity Collaborative. Shania, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Also, we're joined by Gregory Sain, and as you know, anything can come out of his mouth. Gregory Sain is a community activist, a motivational speaker. He's also one of the co-founders of the New Black Leadership Coalition. Gregory Sain, welcome to the show.
Man, thank you so much, Doc. It's such an honor. It's really a great blessing to be on with some dynamic individuals such as yourself and the guests. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up.
All right. Issue number one on the quit list, O'Shea Jackson, aka Ice Cube. Just recently, Ice Cube made a controversial move by revealing that he was working with Donald Trump on his so-called platinum plan for Black America. As you might expect, Twitter exploded. Black people lost their minds. One of Ice Cube's fans said that he can't believe that Cube has gone over to the dark side. Of course, Cube is defending his actions. Now, Dr. McClinton, I want you to weigh in on this. Do you think that what Ice Cube is doing by attaching himself to Donald Trump and his plan, is that the right move for Black people?
Well, let's define some terms, because first of all, it's good that he wakes us up. All right. Sometimes what wakes us up isn't always the most pleasant thing. Even if Ice Cube's arguments aren't on the light, they're a little bit on the lightweight side. I want to quote James Baldwin. He said that to act is to be committed, and to be committed is to be in danger. And so Ice Cube may be in danger right now, but see, here's the thing. Katrina Pearson pretty much set him up. The White House senior advisor and conservative Katrina Pearson, she put Ice Cube out there. Now, Ice Cube's been talking to the Biden and Trump campaigns for the last 8 months. But see, this is Katrina Pearson and the Republican operatives' way of putting Cube on blast. Look, we got to define what
wait a minute, Dr. McClinton, Cube is on blast. He went to the Trump administration, or according to him, they reached out to him and then he responded, but he gave them permission to use his name. One thing that you said,
let's look at Ice. See, we can't go by what everybody else is saying. We can only go by what Ice Cube said. He says, I put out the contract with Black America to both parties. He said the first party that contacted him was the Republican Party. The Democrats said, we'll address this after the election. The Trump campaign and Katrina Pearson said, okay, let's talk about it now. I want to make it clear, though, that the contract with Black America is lightweight. I mean, we had the covenant before that, and we had the covenant version 2, the mixtape after that. Covenant is 254 pages. Covenant 2 is 296 pages. The contract with Black America that Ice Cube is proposing is 22 pages. I got problems.
All right, thank you for that. Shania Gray, what do you want to say about that?
Well, here's the thing, right? So at first I wanted to hear what the story was. I was like, let's see what this is about. So when I looked further into it, he did meet with both campaigns. Now, here's the deal. Who could benefit more from him? Biden has already a lot of Black people. Simone, who's one of his senior advisors, he has a lot of people there. So they heard him out, but they didn't necessarily feel the need at that point in time to say, let's move forward. However, with Trump, who does Trump have? So Trump's campaign will grasp at any straws right now to utilize it for their advantage, because we know they're targeting Black males to take off some of the Black males from the Democratic side to vote for them.
So it sounds like what you are saying is that Trump has an ulterior motive for attaching himself to Ice Cube. How about that, Gregory Sane?
Let me just tell you something. I love masculinity. Backlash, controversial. And first, Doc, Black people already lost their mind. They ain't got a mind right now. So, and a mind is a terrible thing to waste on foolishness. Look, you could talk to whoever you want. You don't need permission from the gatekeepers to have a conversation with Satan or Lucifer. You dig? So I think it's really, but it's deep that Black people are upset. They was upset with 50 Cent. They was upset with P. Diddy. But now I think what's really deep about all of this, celebrities, entertainers, athletes, are actually divorced right now. Although Biden or Trump, they ain't gonna sit down with Minister Farrakhan. They ain't gonna even sit down with Jesse. See, that's the kind of mentality. Hey man, look, I ain't got a dog in this race personally, but I will say this in closing. Look, I love Ice Cube, and it takes heart to do that. I think the people that's really upset are the people who get permission from the slave master to go and have conversation. He's a free man. Speak to who you want. Just don't compromise your principles when you meet with whoever.
Yeah, that's real.
You can't allow yourself.
Do you?
Sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Stan. No,
Shania.
I was going to say, you can't allow yourself to get used. And who, on one hand, yes, you can look at him and say, okay, maybe this is something that could be admired. But on the other hand, you say, did he bring a coalition of people together? Who did he have on the table to involve in this conversation before he says, oh, I'm going to save Black America, and I'm going to be the one to put on the cape and go out there and present this plan? Who have you been having these conversations with behind the scenes to ensure that your plan works for a lot of people and that's not your idea?
He met with Dr. Claude Anderson. He met with Dr. Cornel West. Now, Dr. Claude Anderson, he doesn't have any match. Dr. Claude Anderson with Powernomics, he met with that man and he endorsed what Ice Cube was taking. See, what we got to really be careful about is we ain't been getting nothing. We didn't get nothing. And I'm just going to say this. You could take it or let it alone. 8 years with our brother Barack Obama, plan or no plan, our people are in worse condition than we ever been in, period.
Yeah, you know,
since the 50s. And I ain't here to blame it on, they didn't let him do this or didn't. No, he didn't aggressively do some of the stuff that we are trying to get white people to do now.
And when you
is it possible that Black people are upset with Ice Cube because they feel that he is either willingly or unwillingly supporting Donald Trump?
See, the thing is this. The question is, are you going to be selectively monolithic, or are you going to basically say, let's just involve ourselves with divide and conquer? You know, if I need something from somebody or from some entity, I'm going to go to the first person who will have ears for my proposal. Now, what's interesting about Katrina Pierce, and I want to get back to her, because they know that Black men, when it comes to election time, are the most persuadable voters. 98% of Black women are going to vote for Biden. We know that. 10 to 14% of Black men voted for Trump last time. They know that the weak link in the Black community are Black men. And who do they go to? The man who writes F the Police, Ice Cube. All right. So now they know that Black men are listening. It blew up on Twitter. 118,000 likes Ice Cube got. He had engagement of 38,000 and 26,000. People are talking about it without even knowing what Ice Cube said. So they achieved their goal.
That's right, bro.
Yeah. Did you see? So Roland Martin interviewed him and talked about the plan, asked him to explain what was in the plan. Roland broke it down. So Ice Cube thought he knew what was in the plan, but Roland showed he really didn't know. And even though it said $500 billion, most of that money was going for infrastructure that could go to anybody. So even though they want you to feel they have this plan out there, we can't only look at the rhetoric they're using, because they have a reputation from before of not following through and of talking with no action.
Yeah, well, let me just say this real quick on this. Roland is a cheerleader for the Democratic Party. That's a fact. So Roland, his job is to try to crush Ice Cube. At the end of the day, as Dr. McClendon was saying, when you force these conversations, let that be the conversation. Don't try to critique the plan, because where were the other plans? So I got to keep giving our brother credit. Roland is a cheerleader. Roland want to ride on, because he's friends with Kamala Harris. He want to ride on Air Force One. He want to play at the table. See, when you have Negroes who just want to be in the room and don't want to change and move the needle, they're going to always be the gatekeepers. I hear you, sis, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to try to embarrass him. I'm just going to say, hey, man, the next time you go next steps, make sure you take some weight with you.
Yeah.
Now, I heard that interview. I saw that interview with Roland Martin, and I like Ice Cube. Ice Cube is one of the best rappers that I've ever heard. He's also very charismatic and likable in his films. I love his films. However, Ice Cube was not very knowledgeable in that interview. I saw him on more than one interview. He just didn't know the information. I'm assuming he didn't actually write the plan, but he should study the plan. He needs to know the plan before he gets out there opening up his trap about what's in the plan. Because he was almost illiterate about his own plan.
Be honest, Doc, be honest. Agendas and plans, that's not really the real focus. The real focus is both parties, as he's trying to do, have taken Black people for granted.
Yeah,
that's his main conversation. Forget the plan, because we already know what we
right.
need.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. So you're correct.
Articulate all of that. No, we cannot go into the room with one group versus the other, and they keep doing this. That's what now he said that very well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And see, here's the thing. He could have led with three things: with Trump, with Katrina Pearson, and with the Biden campaign. In the contract with Black America, it clearly states that Black people want lost wages, $18 trillion with 5% assumed interest since 1865. We also want market value, $9.3 trillion with 5% assumed interest since 1865. We also want interest rates that are comparable to anyone else in the United States of America. If you leave with those three things, now we can talk. Outside of that, I'm closing the conversation.
Okay, so we've actually only got a couple of more minutes on this particular topic, but one of the things I wanted to find out is that if Ice Cube is talking to both the Democrats and the Republicans, we know that Donald Trump wants to ingratiate himself to the Black community in the 11th hour because he needs a few votes because he's behind in the polls. So the idea that Ice Cube would connect or let him use his name, a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks prior to the election, does that raise any concerns that he may inadvertently be supporting Trump? Now, again, it doesn't matter to me who he supports. You can support who you want. But the question is is he inadvertently supporting Trump, or in fact, is he just a closeted Trump supporter?
I think, honestly, you said it right, Doc. I don't really care if he supports him or not. And the media, they're always at the, behind the scene of all of this. They create the climate for this. That it's a media hype. And you're right, they are going to use you. There's going to be a picture op, photo op. All of that stuff comes with the territory. I mean, he got pictures with Sharpton. He got Sharpton hugging him. He can put those up. He got pictures with Jesse hugging him. He got pictures with Oprah hugging him. See, we have to be real careful about when it's okay to embrace the slave master. Now all of a sudden, Cube is a bad guy because but you're right, Doc. They do take those opportunities to do the photo ops and make you think that people should back. I don't think that's going to transfer to votes, personally.
So it's time for us to hit it or quit it on issue number 1, O'Shea Jackson. Hit it means yes, quit it means no. The question here is his engagement with Donald Trump good for the Black community? Gregory saying
the Black community.
Is Ice Cube's engagement good for the Black community? Hit it or quit it. Hit it as yes, quit it as no. Gregory saying.
Oh, hit it. I love it.
Shania Gray, hit it or quit it?
Quit it.
Quit. Dr. Gerard McClendon, what say you?
His engagement was early. He just started getting attention now. He was an October pawn, but I still say hit it because it woke some people up.
Issue number 2 on the quit list, Joe Biden. The real issue here is whether Black people ought to be supporting the Democratic Party. A lot of people feel that the Democratic Party has been taking advantage of the Black community. As a matter of fact, since 1968, no Republican presidential candidate has ever received more than 13% of the Black vote. However, only 46% today of Black men believe that Joe Biden is great, which is understandable. Now, one of the things that we have seen now is whether it's Ice Cube, 50 Cent, Kanye West, a lot of these rappers, a lot of people are coming out now in support of Republicans. So the question is, and I'm going to go to Gregory Sain on this issue. The question here is whether we should even be voting at all. In other words, many Black people feel like nothing has changed. Should we be even participating in the voting process?
Politics without economics is symbol without substance. That 1994 crime bill that Bill Clinton and Mr. Joe Biden, they're responsible for a lot of Black men that might have been able to give them a vote to be incarcerated. I would say this. I wouldn't try to sway people from voting or not voting. But what I don't like to hear people say is people died. No, they died for you to exercise your right to vote. And I told my neighbor yesterday, Doc, real quick, she spoke to me, ain't spoke to me the whole year. I don't even know the lady. And she gonna ask me, did I vote? I said, did you cook? Did you clean your house? I mean, come on, lady. I'm not, and look, it's way more important things. Our unity, man, our love for self, us being stronger economically, our brain trust is way more important than this vote. Because regardless of who wins, it is not going to change the reality of Black people until we get up and do for ourselves what we know we should be doing. Bottom line, should we vote? That's up to the person. But I'm going to say this. I think once again, we get tricked in the emotional part of it and then go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Shania Gray, the rapper known as 50 Cent, said that he is voting for Trump. Trump is his guy. The reason he's voting for Trump is because he does not like Joe Biden's tax plan. 50 Cent said, and notice his name is not pronounced 50 cents. His name is 50 Cent. So 50 Cent said that if I go with Joe Biden, I will no longer be 50 Cent. I will be 20 Cent. Is that a good reason to support Trump? Shania Gray.
There you go.
So everybody has to decide for their own. But here's the thing. You have limited options. You have basically 2 or 3 options. Do we have the ideal? No. But whenever you have a few choices, you have to decide what is the better choice. And so you vote and you ask for more. You vote and you do more. You don't abstain from voting, or you don't, I've been seeing online a lot of Black men engaging, oh, I voted for the Green Party last time and I don't really want to vote right now. But we've seen the damage that can be done realistically in the last 4 years with Trump. So I think this is a good conversation. But right now we have to vote. And I think we need to get Trump out of the White House to even get back to where we were before we even move the conversation forward, because he's taken us back years and decades, right? So he's made us regress. So now we have to even get back to where we were before we could go any further.
Yeah.
Dr. Gerard McClendon, some studies have shown that the reason why Black people are so dedicated to the Democratic Party is because of peer pressure, because of what's happening in the community. You buy that?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, but here's the thing. When you believe in something and you're not getting a return, and you are you're automatic, you're robotic in that decision because you either believe in Stockholm syndrome, or you're afraid of your pastor, or you're afraid of older members in your family who say, I'm a Democrat, I'll always be a Democrat. That's problematic. Here's the thing though. It depends on the Black man or Black woman you are. If you earn over $1 million per year and can get amazing tax breaks, maybe the Democratic Party isn't to be supported by you. If you're concerned about specific social issues and programming, then maybe Democrats may be the way to go. So see, at this time on a national level with Trump in office, Black men should support Democrats right now. You got to vote for Biden. However, like Shania said, Green Party, libertarians, communists, socialists, they can take a back seat, because individualism leads to divide and conquer. Like I said, 98% of Black women are going to vote for Biden, but Black men are the persuadables. They want to be wealthy. So they think voting for Donald Trump is their way to wealth. That's nonsense.
Gregory's saying, do you think that both parties are like the same? Are they like interchangeable? Doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat?
I think it's one bird with 2 wings.
Okay.
And,
okay.
They flying in the same direction. Wall Street run America.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
they all go, Wall Street run America. And so when you just want crumbs, you'll vote a certain way. Bob Johnson, I think he loves Black people, but look where he's leaning. And I'm saying that to say that we have to be more intelligent. Look, and sis, Trump ain't put us back any further than we were put back with Clinton and Barack. Mm-hmm. And, let's be honest, policy-wise, emotionally, in terms of he's a clown.
Yeah.
Oh, the man is absolutely, he has issues. But Biden, Sleepy Joe, hey, man, that cat been a senator for years. And remember, Trump just got involved with politics. Now, maybe behind the closed doors he was involved, but him and Kamala, all these people, they've been involved with politics. And look at the condition of Black people. Look how many Democrats have been in office, even the Black Congressional Caucus. And our people hurting right now. And then it takes an ice cube to go and have a conversation.
So what's the better option though, Gregory? Gregory,
what's you want to talk to him?
Gregory, what's the better option though? I mean, is there a better option in this mix, or are you saying that because Black people lack wealth and financial fortitude that both parties can play us?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think now I gotta say this. This is the best opportunity for Black people ever in the history of America, because she falling. And she grabbing on to us, Doc, as she's falling, both parties, because they all have been reckless
Mhm.
politically. It's been a racist game. And so now they want to try to make sense out of it because you do have a clown in there, but they don't talk reparations. We got to keep begging them to do what they need to be doing to close the wealth gap. Let's see if there's some policies. And I don't want people to say, as long as we got Trump out, that's all I need. I'm going to sleep better. Yeah, right.
Well, let me tell you, I feel, Gregory, I'll speak to this. Prior to 2016, yes, I do think that they had a lot in common. So when neoliberalism and that piece coming into play, both parties are on the same boat in lines of vested interest for Wall Street and for big entities. However, with Trump coming into play, yes, he set us back. Look at, Obama's administration finally had started to do criminal justice reform. That all went out through the door when Trump came in. Look at the Affordable Care Act. So many clients I've worked with on the West Side and downtown who are homeless have benefited, and there was nothing greater for them than the ACA. So guess who's going to lose out? Trump has been talking about cutting food stamps back. Guess who benefits from some of those incentives? Affirmative action and scholarships in schools. Look at who's benefiting from those. Even now, the critical race theory and the race and diversity trainings in colleges, in universities, in the federal government, Trump has stopped and put a ban on those. So I would say, yes, we've been worse off than we were in 2016 because he's been slowly chipping away at even the little bit we had.
It's real.
Yeah, now that's a good point that you make. Also, we should consider that the racial tensions, the racial oppression in this country did not just start under Donald Trump. Everyone knows that. However, it has become a cesspool of racial bigotry and hate, which has just kind of risen up. And is it that the racial tensions, the racial hostilities have been become even greater under Donald Trump? I mean, there's talk now that when the election happens, there's going to be problems regardless to who wins. If the Democrats win, Trump supporters have a problem. If Trump wins, Democratic supporters have a problem. So hasn't it been a fact that Trump has stoked racial tensions, which makes it worse for Black people? I mean, just that alone, is that enough for Black people to support the Democrats? Is it enough, the fact that Trump has woken up his people and given them permission to have open season on Black people? Is that enough? Just give me a short answer. We only got like 2 minutes left on the show. And I want to hear everybody's response to this, like 10 seconds. Gregory, is that enough?
No.
And what I mean, is that enough to not, the question is that enough for us to support Joe Biden because Trump has given permission to his people to execute Black people?
No, I think some of that is driven by the media, but I think the hostility and what's being revealed right now is media stuff. But I don't think that's a reason for us to have to vote for Joe Biden, because I don't think he could solve it either. I think this is something that exists and we needed to see it to know what we need to do.
What do you think of that, Shania?
Well, I think, I think it's risen to the top with Trump, but I think people have gone from being frustrated to fear and so on, with people like Trump supporters now and people with hate are coming out of the woodworks. They're not afraid of attacking people. So I do think that is way enough, because now it's a fear for our lives amongst everything else.
Dr. McClendon, what do you say?
A militia wanted to kidnap an American governor from Michigan and put her in the middle of Lake Michigan. You got to be kidding me. Yeah, Trump has stoked the flames. He has woken up the beast. And you got to vote Biden Harris.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our time, folks, on this particular episode of The Quit List. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm thankful to my guests for joining me today. Dr. Gerard McClendon, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate Shania Gray. She is amazing as usual. We also would love to have you guys come back again. We appreciate Gregory saying anything can come out of his mouth, and it will. So you better watch your ears, plug them up. All right, we appreciate you guys. We're going to see you next time right here on The Quit List.
Peace and love.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.